The Ebola scare hits close to home in California tonight. A patient remains in isolation at a hospital in Sacramento, waiting for test results to determine whether or not that patient has contracted the deadly disease. Good evening, everybody. I'm Pam Moore. Health officials in California are playing down the risk of Ebola exposure in this state. This as a diagnosis hangs in the balance. KRON 4's Dan Kerman joins us now. He has more on all of this. Dan.
Well, certainly frightening, just the possibility of Ebola here in California. But health officials really are playing this down. They really want people to know that even if this person does have Ebola, they do not believe it's going to lead to widespread transmission.
The risk of Ebola in California and Ebola transmission in California is very low.
At a news conference Wednesday, the California Department of Public Health tried to ease concerns about the Ebola virus.
We have the infrastructure both in the healthcare facilities, in our public health system, in our general infrastructure with respect to sanitation that dramatically reduces the risk of Ebola transmission.
Transmission is of greater concern now that a patient at Kaiser Permanente's South Sacramento Medical Center remains in isolation, awaiting results of a blood test for Ebola.
This patient is a patient that traveled to one of the affected areas and had some of the signs or symptoms compatible with Ebola.
Results are expected in the next day or so, and health officials are already reaching out to people the patient has been in contact with since becoming ill. Still, state health officials maintain the patient currently in isolation has been deemed low risk. That's based on three factors: symptoms, travel history, and the person's activity in that location.
What have they done in that place? Simply being in one of those countries doesn't necessarily put somebody at significant risk of exposure. Have they had participating in any kinds of situations where they might have come into contact with who somebody is actually ill with Ebola?
So now we have one potential case. Are health officials concerned we might see more of this pop up in California?
They think they will, and that's because this is a crossroads, California. It's a destination. People come here from all over the world. The symptoms as they initially present are not necessarily ones that do not link themselves to other illnesses.
Yeah.
So with everybody being on the lookout for this, they think we're going to get a lot more of this and a lot more testing. Whether we're going to get any real cases is another story.
Let's hope not. All right, Dan Kerman will look for the results in the coming days.